citizen soldiers? So today I'm going to talk about my old landlord. Scratch that, my old Dirty Inturgent Slumlord I had for the past 3 months before I moved to my new place. I'm going to talk about how she not only scammed me, but she's been scamming people for over the past 30 years. So at the end of June, I went out to Florida for this PTSD treatment called Rapid Resolution Therapy. And I must say, this treatment worked wonders for me. I haven't had any nightmares since then, and the triggers that I still do have aren't really triggers anymore. An example of this is I still hear explosions every now and then, but when I hear the explosions now, it doesn't raise my anxiety at all like it used to. So I like to say I beat this demon called PTSD, even though when I told my doctor at the VA I was going to private treatment for a possible cure, she looked me in my eyes and said this, "You know PTSD isn't curable, right?" I just laughed and I was thinking to myself, I'm gonna prove you wrong, Dirty Inturgent. Well, Dirty Inturgent, I proved you wrong. Anyways, about a week after I got back from Florida, I ended up moving out of my dad's guest house, and unfortunately I moved to the wrong fucking place. After looking for a place for one day, we found this shitty trailer park that was affordable for us, but the slumlord wasn't gonna let us move in because she said she doesn't like multiple families living together, even though my roommates are my fucking family. So I ended up asking her if she would consider letting us move in, and she pretty much said, "Yeah, I'll consider it because I know times are rough, but I don't want no problems from y'all." So we ended up moving in, and the whole 3 months we stayed there, we always stayed to ourselves. We had no complaints from anybody, and we always paid our rent. Well, from the very first month, this Dirty Inturgent would say we owe her rent because she says she never received the money order, and that if we didn't pay her, she was going to cut off our lights. So we would have to spend an extra $40 to track the money order, cancel it, get a refund, so we can pay her so our lights wouldn't get cut off. Well, after this happened a couple times, I started to wonder why she was receiving a majority of the money orders, but at least once a month she would say, "Oh, I didn't receive the rent. If you don't pay me, I'm cutting off your lights." It just didn't make sense to me. And I have all the money orders right here, the receipts, that show that we did pay her. And look, there's one for $1,000, $806, $50, $100, $200, $150, $50, and and the list goes on and on. We had the proof that we paid her. Well, I believe she just says she doesn't receive the money orders so she can get paid twice. Because when she says she doesn't receive the money orders, you have two options. You can either pay $40 to track the money order, to cancel it, and get a refund, and then be able to get the money to pay her. Or you can just pay her twice, and she's going to get paid twice, which is fraud. I also believe this is a tactic she uses to be able to force people out to move out on their own, or so she can use it against you to be able to evict you, because if she evicts you, it's a lot easier for her to keep your deposit money. Well, we got tired of her harassing us, which I'll explain some of the other things she did to us here in a minute. So we decided that we weren't going to pay the last month's rent and force her to pretty much evict us, because when you go through the eviction process, it takes about a month. So if you don't pay that last month's rent, that forces the landlord or slumlord to use the deposit money to cover that last month's rent. Well, that plan ended up not working because she just ended up legally cutting off our power. And the reason I say legally is because she just really illegally cut it off. And I'm going to explain very vaguely why she illegally cut off our power. If you stay in a place that is all bills paid, that means your landlord is in control of the utilities. And if you owe any rent, the landlord can shut off your utilities just as long as they give you 7 days notice. According to this letter that was written on the 17th, as you can see, it talks about how we owe her money, and at the time of this letter, we did not owe her any money whatsoever. Rent was $800, all bills paid. If you break it down weekly, rent is $200 a week. On September 1st, I gave her a money order of $540 that I personally handed to her, so I know she received it. Since I gave her $540, that means we were good for about 20 days. So according to this letter, she gave us notice too early, so she cut off our lights a couple days early. The whole situation pisses me off because when we moved in, she's all like, "I know times are rough," but then the whole time we're living there, she's one of the reasons why life is so fucking rough. And then on top of that, at the very end, she wants to cut off our power, and that could have caused all kinds of problems. For one, all of our food in our fridge was at risk of going bad, and we didn't have no money to go out to eat. We wouldn't have had money to replace all that food. We didn't have no stove to cook on since we didn't have no power, so we had to move without being able to eat. We didn't have no air conditioning, so my 6-month-old nephew and my 3.5-year-old niece were pretty much screaming the whole time because they were so hot. And then we didn't have any water, so my 6-month-old nephew, we couldn't rinse out his bottles to be able to feed him. That's one compassionate Dirty Inturgent if you ask me. But she cuts off the power like that because she knows it's going to force the person to move. So they can't ride out the eviction process, so that means she gets to pocket the deposit money. I talked to some of my neighbors and they all said that we were being singled out and that she pulls that whole "I never received the money order for your rent" thing on pretty much everybody. One of my neighbors that moved in a week before we moved out just came over the other day to borrow $40 so she can get her lights cut back on. Dirty Inturgent Miss Bullock pulling that whole "Oh, I never received your rent. It's your fault. You need to pay me twice now, or you're fucked. You ain't gonna be able to eat because all your food's gonna go bad. Shame on you. You should have paid your fucking rent." I just can't escape this Dirty Inturgent. One other thing she tried to do to us was she threatened to tow my brother's car out of our driveway just because it was involved in a wreck and it had a little bit of damage. But I knew damn well that legally she could not touch our car. And I even had a cop tell her that she wouldn't be able to tow our car. The Iraq veteran, 1. Dirty Inturgent, 0. There was another time where she cut off our water because there was a leak in the bathroom. And they didn't let us draw water for the kids for the night until they can come back the next day to fix it. So I ended up having to call the cops yet again. And the cop made her cut the water back on. So it was yet another win for me. The Iraq veteran, 2. Dirty Inturgent, 0. But this Dirty Inturgent just rides around her shitty, drug-infested trailer park in her Escalade looking for people that she can scam out of their deposit money. She does this because she knows everybody that moves into there is usually poor. And in order to fight back and take her to court, you have to pay $118, which usually everybody that lives there just can't afford that. Even the judge of that city told us that unless we pay, they can't even give us any legal advice, or pretty much can't do shit unless you have money. But since I'm poor and I don't have the money to take her to court, don't worry. It's nothing that Daisy can't fix. Just a fucking joke, calm down. But I'm going to end this video showing y'all another video. Yes, welcome to the Matrix. Nah, but I'm going to show you a video that I took of this Dirty Inturgent Slumlord, just so you can have an idea and see what Dirty Inturgent I'm talking about. This is for the light bill. We don't have no way to go.
Hold on just a moment.
Light bill.
You told me that car was running.
No, so we have the tire right there. We just got the tire today.
Was running.
It's been running the whole time.
Okay.
It's never been broke down.
Okay. What is this for?
The excess over the light bill.
All right. You better read that letter. You're not doing what it says.
No, everything. No.
Exactly
that was a misunderstanding. They have been mailing it to the P.O. box. That was a misunderstanding on our part.
You better read the letter. You're not listening to me. Read the letter. I mean, everything I said in
P.O.
it.
box?
No, I'm not talking about in post office box. You read the letter.
I don't agree to that letter.
Pardon?
I don't agree to the letter because you can't.
Well,
the car's not disabled.
I don't care what you agree to it not.
The car's,
you're going to be moving if you don't do those things.
We're going to be moving anyways.
Yeah.
Sometime. God, do you see how this Dirty Inturgent just gets an attitude with me and doesn't really ever let me talk? That's how it is every time you deal with her. God, I just want to thank you for not letting me have to deal with that Dirty Inturgent anymore and put me in a better place with a way better landlord. Amen. The moral of the story is, don't ever let a Dirty Inturgent Slumlord take advantage of you and screw you in the ass with no lube. Because trust me, it don't feel too good and it sucks. One last thing before I go. Thank you for the continued support, even though when I was at that other place with that Dirty Inturgent Slumlord for those 3 months, I wasn't able to make many videos dealing with her and everything else. But now I'm back. I'm in a better place. I have room. It's not as loud. I have a huge backyard. I got a cool ass landlord. I got a cool neighborhood. I got another camcorder so I can probably do some vlogs. I mean, shit's about to go down. We about to fight for freedom because I'm a motherfucking citizen soldier. Woo! Oh, sorry. I got a little pumped up there. Sorry about that. Nah, but really appreciate all the support. Even though, you know, I'm very bad. I'm a very shitty YouTuber, really. I really am. I'm not consistent, and it's dealing with bullshit like that makes me inconsistent. But I'm back. I'm ready to go. More videos soon. Much love from the Iraq veteran. Peace, Dirty Inturgent Slumlord.